Some stories aren't told. They are kept, not to protect the listener, but to protect what remains. Because some evil resides, it thins itself into memory. It drinks. This is what happened in Sacramento, and this is what called itself hungry. Sacramento, California. Quiet street, warm air, safe homes. People slept with doors unlocked because nothing had ever given them a reason to. But somewhere inside the city, something had already begun to rot. His name was Richard Chase, but that is not the name he believed in. Because Richard Chase was a man with a body, a man with blood that should have worked, a man who should have lived normally, but the person he became did not believe he was a man anymore. He believed he was something unfinished, something failing, something that had to take in order to remain. Richard Chase was the name the world gave him, but it was not the name he answered to. Inside his own mind, he was already becoming hungry, and hunger does not care what name you were given. Hunger only cares that you open the door. He believed his blood was turning into powder. He believed his heart was shrinking. He believed something inside him was dying. And he believed the only way to survive was to take it from others. It started slow. I could feel it, drying, weakening. Something inside me was stopping. No one else could see it, but I could. My own veins. Richard was not born a monster. He was born fragile, quiet, broken long before anyone realized. He was afraid of everything. Afraid of poisoning, afraid of being watched, afraid his organs were disappearing. Doctors said he was mentally ill. They gave him medication, but medication could not silence what he believed, because what he believed felt unreal. Before Sacramento understood what was coming, there was a warning. December 29th, 1977. A drive-by shooting. A man named Ambrose Griffin. He was unloading groceries. Normal, alive, unaware. And then, bang! A gunshot. No robbery, no warning, no reason, just death. Random, cold, meaningless. Police did not know why, because the answer was worse than the motive. There was no motive, only hunger. See, Richard saw him alive, walking, breathing. The man didn't know what he had. He didn't know how easy it would be to take it. He didn't know Richard needed it more than him. Sacramento did not panic. Not yet. Because one death can be explained. One death can be dismissed. One death can be forgotten. But this was only the beginning. January 1978. Richard began walking through neighborhoods at night. He did not run. He did not hide. He walked, calm, patient, trying doors. Unlocked doors meant permission. Locked doors meant rejection. This was his logic. This was how he chose to live, and who did not. Locked, locked, locked. They said no. They didn't want Richard. They didn't want to help Richard live. But then, one of them said yes. January 23rd, 1978. He found one, unlocked. Inside was Teresa Wallin. She was pregnant, alone, safe, or so she believed. But safety is not real. Safety is only the absence of evil. And evil had just stepped inside her home. What happened next was not rage. It was ritual. He stayed. He took his time. He did not rush. Because he believed this was survival. He believed this was necessary. He believed he was saving himself. He left a scene so disturbing that even seasoned officers felt silent. Not because of what they saw, because of what it meant, and it was not finished. Richard was unraveling faster now. He stopped bathing, stopped caring, stopped pretending to be human. Neighbors saw him wandering, covered in dirt, covered in stains. But madness alone does not stop evil, because evil does not care how it looks. He only cares that it continues, and he continues. Each time he could feel it working. Each time he could feel himself lasting longer, becoming stronger. But it was never enough. It was never enough to stop the dying. And then, January 27th, 1978, 4 days later, he found another door. Unlocked. Inside were 5 people, 5 lives, 5 futures, 5 heartbeats. He ended all of them. Not quickly, not mercifully, but completely. Hunger does not negotiate. Hunger consumes. Sacramento changed overnight. Doors locked, lights stayed on, sleep disappeared. Because now they knew this was not random. This was not chance. This was something walking among them, watching, waiting, trying doors. Evil makes mistakes, even careful evil. And Richard was not careful anymore. He left fingerprints, footprints, evidence, because madness erodes discipline, and eventually it exposes itself. Police found his prints, they found his name, they found him. January 27th, 1978. He was arrested. He did not resist because he did not believe he had done anything wrong. He believed he had survived. He didn't understand they were stopping Richard from living. He believed they were killing him by stopping him. They couldn't see what was happening to his blood. They couldn't feel it like he could. He confessed. He confessed proudly, simply, honestly. Something necessary, as if explaining something devious, something necessary, something inevitable. Doctors examined him. What they found was not evil alone. It was collapse. His mind had abandoned reality. He truly believed he was dying. He truly believed he needed blood. He truly believed this was survival. This is what made him different, not the violence, but the belief. Because he was not hiding from what he had done. He was hiding from what he believed was happening to him. Sacramento tried to understand, but understanding does not ease fear. Because the scariest truth was not that he existed. It was that he had walked freely among them, invisible, until he chose not to be. He was sentenced, locked away, contained, separately from the world he had fed on. But containment does not always mean the end, because some things do not survive without feeding, and Richard was one of them. December 26, 1980. He was found lifeless in his cell. He had stopped himself. He had stopped the hunger, stopped the decay, stopped everything. His body died. But the question remained, did the hunger die with him? Or did it simply leave? To wait for someone else to feel it. It never really stopped. Just stopped needing Richard. People moved on. Locks became normal. Fear became memory. Memory became story. Story became warning. But warnings only work if people listen. Because even now, some people still forget. Some people still leave doors unlocked. Some people still believe evil announces itself. But it never does. It waits. It watches. Tries the handle. And if it's open, it enters. Quietly. Patiently. Hungry. She remembers.